right, good morning, and it's good to be back. Thank you so much for keeping it daybreak this Tuesday as we continue just empowering you in matters love, matters relationship, marriage, you say and talk about it. And today we want to just have a conversation around ladies, and we just want to discuss what it takes for women to be treated like a queen or a princess, depending on what you like. But then again, there's been this concern about, some men complaining that women are pushing it a bit too far, asking for too much. So what is too much? How far is too far? That is what we want to break down right here on the show. And I'm having a panel of colorful, I have to underline that and stress this morning, colorful ladies looking all nice, cutie.
Hi, welcome back, Safin.
I'm happy to be back.
Tunaka bright. It's a bright day.
Bright. I mean,
ni climate change to affect. It's affecting our.
in a good way, though.
To affect in a good way. Inafanya druske tu kukala block. But good to see you, ladies, and welcome back, Safin.
Thank you so much.
Makafiti.
Thank you, Roberta. Good to see you too.
I'm so excited. I'm always excited.
Always.
Nilikuwa nasema leo tunakaa ni kama traffic lights. With
Green,
the
yellow,
green
red.
and
Yeah.
yellow. And
Yeah, I love the colorful, vibe that you're already giving.
That you could decide.
By the way. Anyway, good to see you. And hopefully also on this panel we'll be joined by a gentleman, because the topic today is very crucial. And we cannot discuss this without the voice of the other gender. Just to know, what is it that shida iko happy when we are talking about being treated like a queen, being treated like a princess? Mbona isifanyike tu? You know, Roberta, when I was thinking about this topic, I was actually picturing some of the things that we have seen even on social media. Unapata mtu anasimamisha traffic, anaenda chini kwa magoti, ana propose, anafanya hizo vitu zote. Aya, kuna watu wananunuliwa gari kila siku, nyumba kila siku. I mean, e-bail ilienda wapi? E-bail ilienda wapi? What does it mean to be treated like a queen or a princess from your point of view? Let me begin with you.
Okay, bail kwanza ya wanaume wanafanya hivyo ama ya mademu?
E-bail ya wanaume. E-bail, kuna mtu tu alinituma niulize swali moja. E-bail ya wanaume wenye wananunua nyumba kila siku na wanaandika check bila kufikiria. Wanakupea password ya bank.
Wako.
E-bail iko wapi?
Wako everywhere. Wako everywhere.
I hope that will drop here by the end of this conversation. But from where you sit, what does it mean for you as a woman to be treated like the queen that you are?
Yeah. Kwanza wacha nijibu, au wanaume wako, na pia au mademu wako. It's just, you have to become the kind of person who deserves that person so that you're attracted to them or they are attracted to you. So lazima ujieke kwa hiyo frequency ya watu treat ya na hivyo, ndo pia wewe upate mtu mwenye anakutreat hivyo. You have to treat yourself the same way. Citra X ini very, very calculated, and you have to be very intentional about, like even when I talk to my friends who are dating, the ones who are being respected and spoiled and treated so well, I see the way they treat themselves every day. They have discipline, they love themselves, they have very high self-esteem, very confident. They're just exemplary women, and that's how they show up in their lives every day, and it reflects in all their relationships. So it's amazing. And to me, queen treatment or princess treatment is only vitu bare minimum. Let me just... Kwa sababu, si kitu, lakini hiyo ndo inafaa ikuwe baseline. Hiyo ndo inafaa ikuwe normal yenu. And I'll explain. I say that because everyone is different. Every woman is different. People have different love languages, which is in the way they like to be shown love. So if someone spoils you with the way that you love being shown love, that's the best treatment there is. I mean, if you like love letters and your man or your lady writes you love letters every day, yeah, you qualify as someone who's very, very spoiled because it uplifts your mood. It makes you very happy. Kama we ni hao wa magari, as long as you love bombing, like nile real, like I really like you, I can do this for you, I want to do it for you because I know it will make you happy. Wako, hizi vitu ziko. And like I'm saying, it's just the way you show up in your own relationship. So being treated well and being made to feel like you're a princess and like you're absolutely adored in your relationship, to me, that's bare minimum. Like, that's exactly what you should expect in every sort of relationship you get into. Like, haufai ku settle for less, haufai kushukisha standard zako. I don't even agree with, If you want a guy who will buy your car, go there and get yourself a guy who'll buy your car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Na hiyo ni bare minimum. Amefungua roho akasema that is normal. You should normalize queen treatment and princess treatment. It shouldn't be something that is a big deal or sort of like mtu anaona
isikushtue sana, zoea hii mambo.
Zoea hii maisha. Cutie. One thing she has said though is the fact that you also have to act in a certain way, sort of like you also have a role to play in this. And my question to you then would be, must you earn it? Or it is something that you really should get just because you are already a queen or a princess? I mean, si mtu tu ako spoiled. Must you earn it?
Safin, you know...
Should it come with conditions?
No, you know, men spend on someone they want to spend on. You'll find that a man has money and he's not spending on you. Then a man has money and he's spending on another person. So a man will always spend on someone they want to spend on. You don't even have to ask for it. And then again, we say, Safin, women love to be loved, as CJ says, loved, lavished, and led. Lazima hizo vitu tatu ziambatane, you know. We love attention. We love to be loved, to be complimented, to be lavished. And by lavished, I mean financial. And then now to be led, like you want a man who leads you. So first of all, Safin, as a human being, you need to appreciate yourself and know your worth. Once you know your self-worth, if I can provide those things for me, Safin, so when a man comes into my life, hizo vitu I think zitakam automatically. But you cannot demand for things that you cannot provide for yourself. Safin, I cannot be demanding for respect and I'm not respecting myself. I cannot be demanding for money and I'm not providing for myself. I cannot be demanding for security and I'm not, you know, I'm not offering all those things for myself. So it starts with self. You have to respect yourself, you have to lavish yourself, and you have to love yourself. So once you do all those things, when a man comes into your life, I mean, those things will come automatically. Atakam. And then he will be like, wow, this woman respects herself. The way she carries herself, she's so confident. She buys herself stuff. You know, if you live a lavish life, then why would someone come and make it any less than that? So once you set the standards for yourself, these other things will come. And as Roberta said, it's bare minimum. Sometimes there are those women that don't really mind about those things, you know, like there are women who just want attention, they want love, they want all those things, and they'll say it's the little things in life that really matter. And then now these other things that come, the houses, the cars and all that, those are just, what is it called? Those are just, you know, like ni plus. It's a plus when that comes. And every woman wants, of course, to be lavished with all those things. But you cannot also demand for a car if that man cannot be able to afford that. You also need to weigh how your man is. If you really love a man, you will not demand for those things if you really know deep down in your heart that he cannot provide. So if this man is not financially stable the way you want him to, but he respects you and he loves you and gives you attention, imagine you're going to be soften, you'll soften up to him.
You can compromise.
You can compromise a few things. So yeah, so it really depends with the way your man is. And please, let's not stress these men with demands that they cannot even meet for themselves.
I like the fact that you're saying.
Yeah, let's not stress the men.
And I wish I could give you more time to continue. That it's coming from you and they are actually saying to stress one. Anyway, I know some are already asking me, where is CJ? Where is CJ? CJ, unfortunately, could not join us today, but on Tuesday next week, of course, hopefully we'll be having him. He took a bit of a day to just rest and, you know, now to represent him on the show, because we cannot talk about treating women as queens and princesses and where the problem is without having a gentleman in the discussion. And joining us now virtually from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, is Duncan Juma, a relationship expert, a life coach as well, just to give his views also on this particular subject. Duncan, it's good to see you. Kwanza salamu za Tanzania. How are you doing?
I'm great. My Swahili has greatly improved as well. But also, being a Lunje, I'm shining. The Swahili Kenyan struggle to understand. This is home. I'm enjoying myself, so thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Juma. It's good to know that you're enjoying yourself. Now, we are talking about something very, I would say, important from a lady's perspective. So, you know, this issue about just going out of your way as a man to treat your woman, to spoil her, you know, what some have said, and also just to make her feel appreciated and to feel like she's the queen or the princess that she is or that you chose. From a man's perspective, what are your concerns or some of the issues that you can be able to share with us with regards to this subject? Because the reason I'm asking this is because there's been a concern from especially men that, yes, it's good to treat a woman right, but I think they are just overstretching it. The demands are increasing each and every day and getting unrealistic each and every day. Is this something that you have also observed?
Well, very many things you say in that sentence that I think it is true that also men are saying maybe there are women in their lives who are overstretching it. But let's premise it right. Number one, human beings are technically or generally, they have two kinds of needs, functional needs and emotional needs. And so on one, functional needs are the practicals. You know, I need a car to move from point A to point B. I need a house. You remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all. But then the emotional needs are usually 75% of the needs. So when you hear a man say it has been overstretched, sometimes it is that there is an overemphasis on the functional needs, and yet we are not meeting the emotional needs that are needed, so that for purposes of how do I put it, so that the person gets to feel then if I'm giving or if I'm supplying, then I'm being met, so to say. So on one hand, it is true and that a man, usually the end game is actually to crown his effort in something. And most times it's the woman in his life as a trophy to show that life is working for me, or this is how I shine. But when it comes with a demand, or it's left with a lot of unmet emotional expectations, then sometimes that's where the problem starts.
Juma, maybe just also to help us understand this on the basic, how do you get your man to do what you desire as a woman? Because we've seen situations where it's very easy for a man to do certain things for some women, but it becomes very hard for them to go out of the way for others. Like an example that one of us, QT gave just a few minutes ago, that you can find a situation where a man has money, but he does not spend it on you, but he can do it for another woman. So give us the mathematics. What's the formula? Just tuibie siri kidogo. How do you get him to feel like he wants to do that for you without being pushed or being compelled?
I think men are wired to do that in a natural way. And so the emotional needs I mentioned is, you'll hear things like respect having a higher value. The problem mostly is you get this woman, she's the queen of your life, she dresses right, you meet right in the right places. But then after she comes into your world, she starts putting on the daras of this world. So she misses out on the things that used to make you want to spend on her. You see, the reality of it is there's always, for every glee, there's a fee to pay. And men are willing to pay for the fees once they see the glee. But when the glee is out, then the fee becomes, or sometimes if the fee outweighs the glee, then men, you'll find in our context, especially even in Kenyan context, you'll find that a man maybe has a side chick, for lack of a better example, but he is spending on her things that if you feel you did that for the wife or the girlfriend, they would be in a better place. So the question is, how do we position ourselves to receive even from men who are naturally willing to and not decide? And then sometimes also the constant reminding that, hey, you haven't done this for me. There is a conversation around you get what you speak to in a man. There are arguments that there's a fool and a king in a man. If you speak to the king, you get the queen out, or the queen's. If you speak to the fool in him, then you get the foolish side of him. So context is, as you treat a man, you tap into levels that he's able then to meet and surpass some of your needs. Naturally, a man would spend on someone, and most times it's the woman in their lives. Needless to mention, data also shows that men usually have closure with one woman in a lifetime, and most times it's their mother. So if the man maybe gives you context into his world and you use it against him, especially if it was a vulnerable moment, then it collapses back to default settings, which is the mother. So you find that he will not treat you as a king because there's an expectation that you would respect and deal with him at the kingly level, so to say. I don't know if I'm making sense, though.
All right.
But I know I'm saying something.
Yeah, Juma, thank you for that. I mean, there are two sides in a man, and it's good that you're the one who has said it, not me. There is the fool and the king. So you get what you want as a woman. And thank you for saying that. But then, Roberta, I mean, you could be having your own version of a king, but another lady next door thinks that that version is the standard version of a king. What I mean by this is the fact that, okay, fine, what Cutie said earlier, you could be having a man who can do all that for you, can buy you all those luxurious things, can take you to all those places that you want to go to. But there's another man who cannot be able to do that, but they have their own version of showing their love and affection to their women. But their women, that woman would feel that just because I don't have what Cutie has or Roberta has, then I'm not appreciated. Is it fair to also look at it that way?
So first of all, as a woman, you need to work on your confidence. So at no point ever you ever find yourself trying to compare yourself with other women. We're allies, we're on the same team, like we should be working together, never like, oh, Cutie is prettier than me. No, we're both beautiful, there's space for all of us. And different people bring out different sides of other people or other things so many times. But something that I always insist on is, especially to women, is date upwards. You know, there's this notion that we've been told that we're supposed to settle, or we're supposed to, it's okay, he's nice, but if you're not happy with the compromising that you're doing, it's you who's going to struggle in your relationship. And when you end up listening to people that, he's doing his best, it's okay, there's no problem, there's no disputing, but if his best is not what you want, then you need to reevaluate. I mean, there's situations where you guys can communicate and decide, okay, this is what we can do, but if you really deep down feel in your heart that you deserve better and you need better, let me tell you something about masculine and feminine energy. You see, when the man shows up in the relationship, like Mr. Juma said, it's very natural for them to want to provide and to take care of you. It comes out naturally. As long as they care about you, even if you're friends with a man, if you're careful with close proximity, you realize that mkienda kukula samosa hapo kwa cafeteria, most times he'll offer to pay. It's just something they do. Even your brother, your father, it's something that comes out naturally. And I also said that...
so if he doesn't come naturally, there is a problem.
Yes, he does not like you. That's just my opinion. If your beauty, your presence, your intelligence, the way you show up does not inspire him to want to take care of you,
maybe
then he's
he likes
probably...
you, ni vile tu hana. I mean...
Love is an action. Love is an action. Vile tu we mwenye umesema, in his own way, in his small ways.
Okay.
You will always see it. Even us women, we just don't say I love you. Even to our mothers, to our friends, you'll buy a birthday gift. You'll call them, you'll text. Kuna kwangana action. So if you want to sit and be oblivious and say, he told me, you'll keep listening to words and you'll keep staying stuck in a space where there's no action, you're not moving, you're consistently hurt. Unaona kina Cutie wanabaiwa marange, una jam. And unaanza kusema hizo ni fake. Hizo ni fake. Ni za social media. Lakini ni ya ukweli. Like, people are dating and they're showing up for each other like this with actions and they're loving each other. And I'll go back to my point about telling women to always date up. Naturally, as women, we always end up wanting people who are better than us, smarter than us, friendlier than us, more generous than us, because you get to learn from your man. As he's leading you in the relationship, he's showing you how to stay in your feminine energy, how to be comfortable, how to rely on him, how to trust him completely. So if he likes you, he wants you to be comfortable. It's not about asking for too much. There's somebody who's perfect for you and can give you everything you want. So something I normally say is, usiende kutafuta mtu si wa level yako, si wa ligi yako.
Okay.
And not just financially. I mean, if you're not working on yourself and you go for someone who's very disciplined, very consistent, the disparity will be seen. It'll be very obvious. Tuteza tu kona, this one doesn't care about the relationship and this one does. But if you work on yourself and you start dating up, work on yourself completely. Make yourself better in every way. Have emotional intelligence. all sorts of intelligence. Work on your finances, be a better person all-rounded, and you'll just find yourself attracting people who are very similar to you. It's just the same way as for birthdays. If you're a good gifter, you'll find your friends gift you really, really well. But if you never gift, out type at a birthday gift,
you set the bar.
It's because umejieka hiyo level.
Okay.
So it's exactly what you attract.
All right. But QT, I agree with her, but to a certain extent. If we say date upwards, haven't you had stories of people who walianza pamoja chini, wakagrow pamoja, juu tu ya mapenzi? See, like, they just started from scratch without anything. And they grew, they learned, they built each other, and they have a beautiful story. Don't we stand a risk of losing very good men because we are setting the standard and looking upwards, yet kunaweza kuwa na some gems hidden huku? I mean, wacha tu niongee ukweli.
Sorry to say this, but those days, nowadays, those days are gone, Safin. Like, kitambo, those things used to be there. Like, utasikia watu wamesema, we've been together for 10 years. We've been together for 15 years. They started from there. But right now, Safin, if you start saying, Ati, right now we can start from scratch, generations have changed. Things have changed. We've gone digital. Yani, everything changes. Not only emotions, we change financially, we grow emotionally, we change mentally. Those things zinakujaga kuchange. Generation ya saizi, these people just want easy and quick life, you know. They just want to get into relationships whereby they're provided for everything. And this goes out to both men.
Right?
But for both men and women, actually. Even there's some men who just want to be in a relationship whereby the woman is doing everything for them, the woman is providing. Nowadays, people don't appreciate the fact that you can actually, the millennials, they experience that you can actually start with someone from scratch and come all the way. That is a process. But right now, people want easy life. They want easy money. They want, you know, everything. They want everything easy. But that's not the life that some people are used to. Generations are different and people are different. And the way I said it, Safin, if I cannot provide certain things for myself, why do I want, you know, we call men stingy, but they're not actually stingy. Let me tell you, there's nothing like a stingy man. If a man does not want to provide for you, he will not provide for you. But when a man comes into your life, aone, hey, huyu dem amejisetia standards, udem anajipelekanga dinner, unaget, like, you take yourself out for dinner, you buy yourself nice things, nice phones, you dress nicely, you have a good car, even if it's not expensive, you know, but he will be able to appreciate that and respect that. You cannot. What
about those who have the line of thought that if you're like that, then you will intimidate and scare all the good men?
No, real men are not intimidated by such women because actually, you know, empowered.
That you have to create a gap for a certain need for them to see, you know, where they can fit their space. So they find that superhero space for them, at least.
A real man will not be intimidated. No, a real man will not be intimidated by an independent woman. Actually, he will actually see that as a plus for him because if a woman is independent and empowered and all that, the man will come like, we can actually do something with this girl. Because even not every man just wants a woman who is just, you know, staying like that. Every man wants a woman who challenges him, because if I come into a relationship, I need to make this man better financially, emotionally, you know, mentally. So we need to grow each other in a relationship. I just won't come and expect, okay, this guy is going to do everything for me, or this guy will come and this woman is going to do everything for me. We need to build each other.
Right.
Whether it's mental, financial, just let me finish that point of, we don't need to stress this man. Toche kuita ma boy stingy. Don't call a man stingy, yet you can provide all those things for yourself. But you want to call this person stingy, even you're stingy to yourself, because you cannot provide for yourself. Don't ask for what you can't afford, and don't ask for what you can't provide for yourself. This thing of calling people stingy, imagine they just don't want to spend on you.
All right. So if you can afford, why are you asking for it?
Yeah.
Why are you waiting for it? I'll come back to that. Think about it. But let's go to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, and just get your thought also, Juma, tetea boy child. I mean, they're saying date upwards. Usiangalie below the bar. Just look for somebody who you can be able to learn from, somebody who is up there. Don't we risk losing men who are good, men who are respectable, men who could be having good values?
Yeah.
They could be they may not have like a very fat paycheck, but they are good fathers and they can actually lead a home. Don't we risk losing those men if we go that direction? I just want to hear your thoughts and what you think should be done.
I like your direction, and I wanted to comment on that. I wish I'm missing the live debates. I should have been in there. I think the fire in there is very good for me. We need to do this again. But here's the point. When you say we need to date up, I think sometimes we miss the context of the life stages as happens. There is someone who is not up there today. Maybe they're trying to figure out. You see now what happens in the dating scene, you'll constantly find women dating up, so to say, or dating men who have already made it. And so their age mates and, people in their generation are still struggling to figure themselves up. They're struggling to know who they are and all that. So sooner or later, down the road, in their 40s and all, the guy who didn't look like anything is now become something. And then you start fearing that maybe the app that you are looking for does not validate you, doesn't know you and all that. There are tangible needs that we have, validation, looking like life is happening for you. But the emotional needs that we have, sometimes you just want someone who understands you, someone who believes in you, in your moments and all that. And so dating app misses out sometimes on the context, if that's really the desire. But also the risk there is to outsource your validation based on the kind of person you're dating. There are people who might not have much to their name, but equally in life, their needs are not very many. They may need a bicycle and not a car. In that sense, they are present fathers. They are, they are loving, they are caring, they are meeting, all that. So the mix is, I don't think it's a templated in terms of then saying you just need to marry up. But on the other hand, I need to say this, that life has changed the dating scene has completely changed. And so you most likely find that a bigger currency. And then when you track those relationships, commitment becomes not lacking. So when a man is in a relationship and all he thinks is, I'm here because I'm providing, I bought this, you're beautiful, I bought you, then things like the disrespect will kick in. And at any time, and so those are things we must also consider in this broader spectrum of life. There was an aspect around also what the boy child brings on the table. Sometimes you just want a man who will enjoy life with you in the Kibandaski, building each other up in the dreams. Life is about two things: dreaming together or planning together and having a lot of, I almost said something that TV may not allow in the morning, for the two relationships. So for a man, if those two needs are met, you kind of, can supply whatever you need. And I think we also must also contextualize that there are men who all their capacity might be to give you a pint. And there are men who maybe now the girl in your life needs a drum. So even if you give you 100%, you are not going to satisfy her needs. And constantly, again, if she keeps comparing you, so you've given your all, but you're not still. But at the same time, it could be vice versa, where the woman gives 100%, but the needs of the man are drum full, and because of that, then they are not meeting. Compatibility in terms of doing life together becomes also a winning strategy in you being the queen, and being the queen, being given the things you need, and your needs, just beyond financial, also being met.
All right. Thank you for that, Jima. But before I just come back to the ladies in studio, maybe a quick one also. Do you feel that men are inspired to really step up once they identify a gap or a challenge that they have to conquer or a problem that they have to solve, and that this aspect of empowerment and women having it all going and having everything perfect and well done could actually be a contributing factor to the reason why some men are slowly and progressively taking the back seat, because they see the action and everything seems well planned, well organized, well catered for. So there is no space for them to step up. Is it an informed point of view?
You see, and I think men are also considering, I like your question, men are also considering what is the girl or the woman bringing on the table. If all you're bringing on the table is yourself, for that lack of a sane word for TV at this time, then that's all he will go for. But at the same time, men like being challenged. I mentioned about speaking to your man's potential. There's a man, let me put it this way. To a man, how you place your orders matters. For example, if my wife came to me and said, hey, in this house, we've never eaten meat for a long time. What are you doing as a man? There's a high chance that day she won't even also have meat. But if you came to me and said, hey, I know, Daddy, you're doing all your best. You are a good man. I have a feeling you will bring me meat today. I can kill for her, because then she has challenged my potential to go for it. So if the end game is you need the goodies, the gold, the money, the travels, how you place your also matters. So the empowerment bit, sometimes what it has done is it has outsourced the value system to filter good men. And you find out that then you'll end up having abused people in the relationships, people feeling used, people feeling, if I go to you this way, then I can get 10 others in the same way. Needless to mention, if you're talking about a strong relationship, it looks like money can buy almost everything now. So if you're coming into my life, what is the other X factor that you're bringing? Because if it is these other things, I can get them on the street or whatever. So those are conversations that we should also mirror our current reality of what is the expect, what is the wish list, and what is the reality. Sometimes you can go through dark seasons, even yourself, as a person, the woman in this matter, you can go through a dark season, and you just need a man who will stand by you in that season, and that's the value addition he brings on the table. And maybe after you've gone through that season, you can fly the world. Sometimes maybe you're in a season where you're saving or building capacity for second generation wealth. As you build that, maybe you can travel the world as you enjoy life together. So in context, I'm just trying to say empowerment is good, and I think we need stronger women. Things have changed. We have women earning more money than men. We have, so the bigger values need to be that we still respect each other, honor each other, but also attend to each other's needs, even as we progress.
All right.
Those would be my comments.
Okay, thank you, Juma. And Roberta, just to pick up from where he has left, I mean, women are empowered, and it's a good thing. Nowadays, you have women running the boardrooms and women earning even more than men. The question I asked earlier, if you can afford it, if you can afford that good life that you want, why should you allow it to deny you the opportunity of enjoying that fruit of your hard work with a good man? Because he has said sometimes you just need a man to enjoy life with. If you can afford it, why block that door? Why close that door?
What I'm seeing this conversation kind of revolve around is finances, but relationships are much more than money. And it's always so hilarious to me when I talk to women and tell them about dating up, and the context gets stuck on, there's good men who are not making money. Why is the conversation always coming back to trying to make women settle, or trying to make women want less, or trying to make men think about these imaginary men who might be better, but they just don't have enough money? Why isn't the conversation around empowering women in all ways, not just financial, in all ways? When I say date up, I'm talking about a man who's better than you, even with emotional intelligence. He knows how to handle things. That's exactly what I said before. I didn't just speak about money. It's Mr. Juma and you. I think you guys are revolving around the financial side of things. But when I say date up, I mean wholesomely. A man who's better than you. He can be better than you in so many ways. And even if you earn more than him, if he's someone who is very intelligent, very aware, very thoughtful, very kind, he is able to lead you in the relationship as well. This really, really eases the relationship. So I'd like us to refrain from trying to tell women, there's better men. It's okay, but let people go for exactly what they want. If you like musicians, go for a musician. Don't go for a postman and then you start saying, he never sings for me, he never sijui what. Hizo zenye QTL kwa nasema, you're dating the wrong person and then you're angry that they're stingy. Someone who cares for you, someone who loves you, all these things come naturally. It's the way there was a debate on Twitter about this man saying, I hate the way he put it, but he was talking about how when women, if a woman likes you, she comes to your house and she sees it's a bit untidy, out of just the ile tu uzuri, maybe she doesn't want to sit in an untidy place, she might find herself starting to tidy up. It's not because she's a house help, or because she's a maid, or because you're paying her to do it. It's because if it's a space she enjoys being in, if it's something she feels will help you out in the relationship, she might find herself doing it. It's the same with when a man spends on you or when he takes care of you. I'd like for people to get out of this notion where It's like finances is this coveted conversation that we're so scared of having. It's just a medium of exchange. And it's just because nikienda kwa duka nikitaka kununua mkate lazima nipeane pesa. Kama ingekuwa mawe, tungesema oh dem anapenda mawe. Oh dem. It's just a medium of exchange. So yeah, so it's not just the finances. Date up. Date someone who's better than you. And I speak to women a lot. I mean, I don't feel like it's my space to be giving men advice. I'm not a man. I've never been a man. I can only have opinions. But I feel like from my dating experiences and from the women I've talked to, I think it's just better if you look for someone who really likes you and they really always want to show you that they like you. You will hardly have to ask for anything. You won't have to remind them. You won't have to compare them. You won't have to keep being like, oh, you don't do this for me, you don't, because it comes so naturally. You'll be able to see that he likes you. He wants to treat you really well. So just to add on what Cutie said, you have to act a certain way. You have to love yourself a certain way for you to receive this kind of treatment from everywhere else. And this is what I'm saying. Whether your guy is a guy who sells mboga or he's the CEO of where, princess treatment ni standard. How he treats you, I could say, I'm speaking to the men as well, but let me just focus on the ladies. How he treats you, that's the baseline. How he respects you, how he listens to you, how he, even if we go as far as including finances, how he spends on you, it'll come so naturally. You'll never feel like you're asking for too much, and he'll never make you feel like you're asking for too much. In fact, if he likes you enough, he'll wonder why you don't ask him. And this is if you date people who like you and who you like. He'll wonder, ay, mom, umenda kutengeneza nywele na hujaniuliza next time. Tell me, you know. And this is the kind of I say this because this is exactly what I'm experiencing. It's not a fairy tale. It's not something set aside for these kind of girls who look like that, or CG girls who earn this money. It's for every sort of woman. If you love yourself and you show up amazing in yourself, confident in yourself, you won't even be able to stand for anything less. And it's not, remember I'm saying not just financially, but as women, we naturally are inclined to want better than what we have. I don't know any women who see people who are like less in any way, like he's not as emotionally intelligent. And if you're like that, I think you need to start looking at your trauma, maybe start working on yourself so you can raise your standards. Because if you see something that's not good for you and that's what you want, go for exactly. Kama usifeel dream yako ni too big, ama usifeel nika una ask for too much, na usiache mtu yoyote akwambie ati no, don't ask for too. They like it when you ask. When you date the guys who like you, you start to see they love it. They love it. They love to show up as providers. They love to show up as caring men. And when a man cares about you, it's so evident. You'll never have to ask, how tawai and ati kutext Cutie. You know, my boyfriend, he's not texted me in 3 days. You will see. Even if he doesn't call you, he will show you. He will make sure his presence is felt. There will never be two ways about ati, oh, I'm not sure. You'll never wonder ati, where does... He will be very open. That's why I tell women, but when I say date up, I say, date someone who you look up to, someone who can inspire you, someone who you can learn from, someone who, even if his finances are up there, if he likes you, he atakupandisha bei pia wewe. You'll stop earning the little you're earning and you'll definitely improve. Whether he's the one who gives you the money or he gives you connections or he makes sure he sets you up. That's how friendship is. People take care of who they care about. So I think women shouldn't be scared at you. I mean, at you, CG, men, CG. No, if he likes you, you will always feel it.
She has just, you know, like given it that 360 way of looking at it. Kitty, do you think sometimes we get it wrong? You know, the way we look at this particular subject? Because you'd find women who feel trapped in relationships where they feel like they're not getting enough. And it's concerning how the numbers are high. Kuna wale wenye wanavumilia, wale wenye they fell in love with a dream. They're saying atabadilika. He will grow, he will change. Someday he will think about what he needs to do as a man. But bado tu wako kwa your relationship. Do you think we are getting it, you know, wrong probably as a society?
sometimes we get it wrong because, Safin, someone will change. They say men will change when they want to and for who. That's why I've started that statement by saying a man will spend on one woman and then he will not spend on another woman. So a man will change for the woman that he wants, a woman that is challenging him. But I tend to feel like men, when they come into a relationship and they just see you just like that, you know, like umeka tunde, they're always like, even them, they'll just stay like that and actually wait for you to actually step up. As I said, men are attracted to empowered women nowadays. They want a woman who is challenging them, like mkioka how meka, like he wants you to talk about big dreams, those big dreams. But if usikae tunde, if you're not talking about the big dreams in the house, like Roberta said, as a woman, do not be afraid to ask, because if you're afraid to ask, then you're in the wrong relationship. If I'm afraid to open up to a man, I am in the wrong relationship. If I cannot tell you, babe, you've hurt my feelings, babe, I really wanted you to take me out yesterday, but I took myself for dinner. If I cannot have these uncomfortable conversations with the person that I'm with, then there's a problem. So we keep on asking the wrong things with the wrong people, and you will never need to ask. As Roberta said, as I said it earlier, if a man likes you, he will give you that queen treatment. He will give you that princess treatment. Look at even our parents. Sometimes you just find, like you find some cards, those cards that they used to, you know, when you go through their things, their old school way of loving them. They used to do those things, but when you come and when people come and say, oh man, I cannot be like that, me I'm gangster, gangster points zitashuka because I do certain things. Imagine a man needs to do all those things for you, even if not in public, just when you're the two of you. He needs to be able to stand up and do those things for you. A man who loves you will text you, Safin. He will just drop you a text. Even if not a text, just, you know, an M-Pesa message will come. That's how we hope. No, I'm just saying. Sometimes there are men, their way of communicating that they love you, it's just an M-Pesa message, like, go do something for yourself. Okay, I'm not going to be there. I'm running late for a meeting. We have a board meeting. But
sometimes those words are important.
Those words are important.
Okay, the message is appreciated.
It's appreciated, but he can just drop that.
Actually tell
yes, and just say. And even the guy that goes out and hustles, he will come with like 200 bob and say, babe, today we are eating meat. By the way, today we are eating that chicken. You see that chicken that you're asking for? Today we are doing that. You see, men, and we know, the sad part is that we always know, but unaka hapo ukisema, he will change, he will do, imagine he won't. Ama ni makosa yangu. Don't blame yourself. Don't usijieke ati mtu mdogo, usikwe mtu mpole, but don't also demand. There's a way, as Juma said, there's a way you can ask for these things, but in a polite way. You see, like, hey babe, see, hii wiki hata uchangamke, tukuleka nyama, ama tufanye, ama tuende somewhere, just the two of us without the kids. You know, there is a way you can tell a man something and they will take it positively, but there's a way ukasema, we hata unifanyangi. You see, if you tell a man that way, it will come out badly. But if you say it in a nice and a polite way, I think the man will get the message. You'll see him smiling, ama check it, and then he will actually do it. So if you feel like your man is not doing for you the things that you actually want him to do, imagine just tell him in a polite and sweet way. Just tell him, babe, please kindly do this for me. I love it when you do this for me, instead of haufanyangi hivi. And you'll see the conversation will change, his actions will change, and his reactions will also change. So as a woman, please don't feel too small to ask for something. Ask for what you feel. Yes, ask for what you feel you need, but don't demand. There's a difference. Do not demand, but ask nicely for it. And if you're not getting it, it's time to bounce, man. Like, you can't stay there and just bounce. If a man is not giving you what you want, it's been 3 years, and you're still waiting for him to change. He's not gonna. Oh, Nani, they don't change, by the way.
Juma, just as we wind up this conversation, you know, that queen or princess treatment is what women desire. And one day we'll talk about the men, but today it was all about the women. As we wind up this conversation, what is it that you would tell both genders in terms of how to now make this practical, how to make it work in their relationships and in their marriages? Juma, if you can hear me, we are just winding.
Oh, sorry. Good. Thank you. I wasn't sure it was directed to me. You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. I think what I would say is women are very powerful. God has equipped them with a lot of tools to get what they need. But I guess the balance is what you want, really what you need. And is your man the vehicle to get you there? And is it just the items that he brings on the table, or is it that you also want him? And I think men want to say, you want my things, but also if you want me, then we complete the pie. So, but also we turn our expectations, build your man into what you want, and you will be the overall beneficiary of this. And of course, as you say, today we're talking about the girl. The conclusion of it is women are well equipped, too powerful, more powerful than they ever are willing to appreciate. And because of that, go for what you want, but at the same time, do not crack skulls on your journey to where you need, because eventually it will become futile. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Juma. What a way to end it. Go for what you want. Go for what you want. I'd just also like to give you, Roberta, a chance to give us your final thoughts. And also, before that, I think we should we sample like 3 or so messages? We had invited you to just share with us your thoughts also on the conversation, just to hear what you have to say. Let's get to sample a few so that as we wrap up, maybe we can be able to react to some of those. On SMS 22422. This is what you're saying. And we appreciate all of you who've taken time to share with us. Treating her like a queen, that's Steve Webby, is always the best, but they are currently misusing it by taking advantage. Yani, they think you're desperate then. All right. We have Teddy watching from Kijabe. Any man that is appreciated by a woman, even in the simplest ways, will always treat this woman like a queen. All right, and then we have one more here saying nothing good comes easy. Some effort has to be put in. So it's a two-way traffic. There's also one from one of our viewers saying, my question is it proper to date a guy who is still staying with his parents, yet he wants to settle, yet he depends on his parents? Okay. If a woman is above the man financially, but she loves him, she needs to fill his pocket with money for whatever they have budgeted for, even if they go shopping together. Make him feel like a husband. Okay. The body language in studio is really telling, especially on the last 2 messages. But as you wind up, I'll just give you both a chance to tell us your parting shot and react to those. There was a question, if a man is still staying in his parents' house, depending on the parents, yet anaongea kuhusu kusettle, huyu sasa have a conversation aje. There's also that one who says, okay, sawa, you could be earning more, but mpatie. Hiyo pesa mpe, alafu yeye sasa mkienda supermarket, he's the one who's paying the bill. I feel like a husband. Roberta, your final thoughts.
Wacha niachie QT ajibu hiyo ya living with parents. I'll talk about sorry, that one was for money.
Yes.
Okay, about giving your man money.
Yeah.
I mean, before you even get into a relationship, please make sure, I keep repeating this, but sijika hatuielewi ama haingi.
No, the more you repeat, the more you're seeing.
Okay, let me just keep saying, I'll always say it every show. Work on yourself. Be self-sufficient. Before we engage another relationship, you cannot pour into people when you have nothing, when you're empty yourself. And this is very wholesome. Work on all your intelligence, your emotional regulation, your self-esteem, your confidence, your money. Work on self so that you're self-sufficient. Because na realize kizi watu wanaingia relationships kuwestiana time, ama kutumiana, and it's not fair. But if you work on yourself, if you really work on yourself, you become very confident and self-sufficient in your relationship. So now the relationship can be based off of fundamental things like plans or actually caring for each other and liking for each other. So if you ever start to feel like you're being used or you start to feel like you're desperate, QT said, this is not the relationship for you. Hizo ni signs, hiyo ni intuition already inakwambia. So please work on yourself so that you don't need a woman to put money in your pocket for you to feel like a husband or for you to feel like a man. Work on yourself so that vitu external hazi affect who you are as a person. Juu kama una need dem yako akweke do ndio feel, oh, I'm a husband, then maybe you really should be a husband.
Like unampatia ndio wewe usilipe.
Hizo vitu zinakosingi resentment in the relationship. You think your woman is okay paying for everything or providing, be the primary provider. And you see men, even when women step up in the role of becoming the primary provider, the men don't really become the nurturers. They still want to be the man while the woman is. So let me just finish in one sentence. Be self-sufficient in relationships, work on yourself, take care of yourself, love yourself, create your confidence and build your self-esteem so that ukiingia kwa relationship, hauingii ku benefit, unaingia ku give.
Okay, well said, Cutie.
If you're living with your parents and you're depending on your parents, then you can't even take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of another human being. But you could be living with your parents, but you're working and all that. That one we can always work on. But kama huwezi jitekea care, how do you take care of another human being, you know? But
the other human
the other human being will come along, even the kids and all that. But anyway, my parting shot is just don't be afraid to ask for what you feel you deserve. But first, give it to yourself. Give all those things to yourself, that the financial, the mental, the respect, the emotional. Once you're able to give all that to yourself, you will not be afraid to ask for that. But kama ujipendi na ujipei hizo vitu, itakuwa ngumu ku ask from someone else.
Yeah, true. So it starts with you. You want to be treated like a queen? Are you one to yourself? Jiangalie kwa kioo ujiulize, are you a queen? If you look at that person you're looking at on the mirror. Are you a princess? Before you expect somebody else to treat you like one, work on yourself. Thank you so much for creating time to catch Daybreak this morning. We really appreciate you. And those who took time to also share with us their thoughts, we appreciate that as well. We were joined virtually by Duncan Juma, relationship expert and a life coach. And in studio also Cutie, the lovely Cutie, and Roberta Bobby. Cutie, by the way, has a show after this. So.
On Radio Citizen, Radio #1.
Thank you.
Oh, I have a new podcast out on loveandorgasms.com. Please listen to my podcast. I actually talked about this topic.
Great, great. All right, that's how we wrap it up. Have a good day. Have a lovely one.